Welcome to the Ruckus Associates SmartZone Administrator demonstration series for the SmartZone OS 5 release. In this course, we will show you the functionality of SmartZone OS 5 along with the basic configuration of many aspects of the controller. In this video, we will provide you details on managing devices using Layer 2, Layer 3, application, and OS controls that are built into SmartZone. Let's first take a look at user traffic profiles and Layer 2 ACLs. User traffic profiles control traffic from a Layer 3 and above. You can use user traffic profiles to rate limit traffic on a wireless LAN. Do note that any devices that are connected to that wireless LAN where that profile is selected or used will limit all devices that are connected. You can add rules to the policy to allow block traffic based on IP address, the port number, and protocol type. Separate Layer 2 ACLs allow or block devices based on their MAC address. You begin configuration by creating the user traffic profile and then adding the rules. In this example, you can set the rules to deny by default, then explicitly allow IP addresses, ports, or protocols. Alternatively, you can set a user traffic profile to allow all traffic by default and then deny specific IP addresses, ports, or protocols. Once you have created your profiles, you can then assign them to individual wireless LANs. You can create multiple profiles, though you can only assign one user traffic profile to each wireless LAN. Once you attach the profile to the wireless LAN, the policy is immediately applied. This process is the same for any of the Layer 2 ACLs as well. You simply create the policy, add the rules, and then attach it to the wireless LAN. Let's take a look at several configuration options under the Services and Profiles menu. Access Control provides a wide range of options to control access and utilization of the wireless network. Application Control helps identify, control, and monitor applications that are running on wireless clients associated with managed APs. You can create application control policies to prevent users from accessing certain applications. So let's go back to Access Control. Note there is already a system's default user traffic profile. As you can see, the default traffic handling is set to allow and with no applied configuration. User traffic profiles are configured from the domain level and not specific to zones. Select the domain where you would like to create your user traffic profile. This will be either the system domain or the partner domain. The first option for user traffic profile is rate limiting. A rate limit can be selected for uplink and downlink traffic. When configured, the controller applies the rate limit to all devices of that wireless LAN. The next section is the Traffic Access Control list. Note that when you create a user traffic profile that the DNS and DHCP servers are automatically added to the profile with allow permissions. Select whether the default access for your policy will be allow or block, and the default is allow, which means you will be adding block rules. If you set it to block, then you will be creating allow rules. Select Create and Add New Rule, but before doing so, note the Application Recognition and Control menu. You will learn in the next section how to create an application recognition and control policy, and that can be applied to users. Once you have done that, it's added to the user traffic profile here. Optionally, you can apply URL filtering to the UTP limiting access to websites based on its category type. Specific URLs can be applied as well. In this particular profile example, we're going to block ICMP traffic within the wireless LAN. First, we're going to create a name to identify this policy. We're not going to change our default access. We're going to create allow, but we are going to specifically create a deny policy when it comes to ICMP. So we're going to put in here ICMP block just as identification. We're going to set it up to deny or block, and then we're going to go down and select the protocol. Do note that we have ICMP v4 as well as 6 and many other protocols in which we can block if we so choose so. We're going to select just IPv4 or ICMP v4 at this point. Once we do that, we're going to push OK. And now you can see we have a new added traffic control list application or line entered here, blocking the ICMP v4 traffic. We're just going to push OK here. And now we can see within that domain we have a policy that we have configured. Now the next step is we've got to go back to the wireless LAN and apply it to that LAN. So we're going to go to the TeamX standard wireless LAN, which is what I want to apply it to. Click on Configure. We'll scroll down to the Advanced section, and in that we'll see we have a choice of configuring or identifying a user traffic profile. Click on the down arrow. We can see the one that we've created right here. Once we've done that, we can push OK. Now let's go to a PC and see if we can connect that PC to the device and try a ping. Go to Team Standard 2, which is what we've configured that policy for. We're going to pull up a command line, and we're going to try to attempt to ping something. And we can see that it's not pingable. Now, just to verify that it is a pingable address, we're going to go back to that SmartZone profile. Going to go to the wireless LAN. And before we do that, let's scroll down and just take a look and see if we have a configuration of confirmation of the user traffic profile, which we do. We have the TeamX policy profile associated to that wireless LAN. So we're going to go back up to the wireless LAN, click on Configure. We're going to go down and remove that particular user traffic profile and apply back to the system default, which was what originally was applied to this wireless LAN. Now once we've done that, we'll click on that wireless LAN again. We'll scroll down and verify that we do see that that system default is applied to that wireless LAN or that user traffic profile. Let's scroll back up. And then let's go back to our PC, and we can see now that it is pingable. So now let's move on to application control. You've learned previously that enabling application recognition control on a wireless LAN enables a controller to identify and display the applications that are in use. Once you can identify the applications, you can control whether they will be allowed on your devices or not. Application policies allow you to block certain applications from being accessed. To configure application policy, you create the policy, then you create the rules, then you associate them with the wireless LANs that you choose to apply the policy to. Let's look at how to configure this on SmartZone. First, we're going to go into this computer and we're going to take a look at it to make sure we can access Facebook on this particular device. So we're going to click on Facebook here, and we can see we went to the login screen. So let's go configure into SmartZone to deny access to Facebook. So we're going to go down to Services and Profiles, then Application Control, and then we're going to select the domain that we want to apply this policy to, or I'll make it available for. We're going to click on Create, and we're going to name our profile. We can add a description if we so choose, and then ultimately we can create this specific rule. So we're going to click on create. It is going to be a denial rule. We have an option of QoS and rate limiting. In this case, it's going to be a denial rule. We're going to have system defined. However, there is a user defined option as well where you can specify IP addresses, port numbers, and so forth. And this is heavily used whenever you're having devices or users trying to connect to internal devices. When it comes to applications that are out on the internet and things like that, usually the system defined is going to work for you. Now there is a way of categorizing what we want to be looking for. In this case, we can use this drop-down list and go down and select the social networking. And all this does is limits the amount of devices or applications I have to look through in this list to be able to capture or get the application that I want. We're going to push OK to it. You can see there are other options about logging. Do know that the logging applications that are being blocked and application activity can be very verbose and cause your logs to fill up quickly. So just want to be careful in using these two different options down below. It might be something you might use more on a deny type situation, allowing you to see more specifically to applications that are being accessed, opposed to doing it from an allow perspective. We're going to push OK to that. And now we have this particular option. We're going to go back to the access control, and we need to apply that particular policy from an application perspective to the policy we've already created. So we're going to click on the Team X policy profile. We're going to click on Configure. And then we're going to go down to the application policy, and we're going to select the one we just created. So we're going to click on Facebook Block, and then we're going to go push OK. Now the last step that we need to do is we need to go reapply it to the wireless LAN. If you recall earlier, we applied it and then I took it out just to prove that we do have pingability whenever we did not have that policy applied to it. We're going to click on that wireless LAN again. We're going to click on Configure. We're going to scroll down, and we can see here we have the user traffic profile again. We're going to select that policy. We're going to push OK. And then we're going to go verify that it's connected or associated with this wireless LAN. So we're going to click on it again. We're going to scroll down once again, and we will see that that TeamX policy is applied. So therefore, any devices connected to this wireless LAN, even if they're already connected, will have that policy applied to them. Now we can go back to our device, and then let's try to refresh this page. And you can see that we're having difficulties getting to Facebook. And we can also verify and see if our policy of blocking ICMP has also been in place, because do know that was applied to that particular policy as well. We just simply added the application to that policy. We can also see that ICMP is not capable or available on that wireless LAN again as well. Facebook finally timed out. The last thing we'd like to demonstrate in this presentation is the OS policy services. So device OS policies allow you to set policies based on the identified operating system type. With client fingerprinting enabled, the system will attempt to identify the client's device type. You can add rules to the policy to allow or block traffic based on the device type. You can apply rate limiting to specific device types only if you so choose, and you can allocate device types to a specific VLAN. You should now be very familiar with the process of creating policies. Again, it's create the policy, create the rules, and then apply the policy to the wireless LAN that you so choose. Now, once applied to the wireless LAN, the policy takes effect immediately. Now let's demonstrate that in SmartZone. We're going to go to the Services and Profiles, then we're going to go to Access Control, and then to the OS Policy tab. We're going to select the domain and the zone because these are applied on a per zone basis. As you can see, we're not able to select create from this domain. We need to go into a specific zone. So we'll go into the Team X zone and we'll push create, and we'll name this policy. And then under rules, we're going to create our rule for Android. That's what I have. We are going to deny it. So we're going to click block, and then we're going to select Android in the drop-down list. Now we could have applied an allow here and simply selected rate limiting, and that would allow us to limit it based on whatever device type we so choose here. But in this example, we're simply going to deny that Android's being able to connect, or ultimately, like we said, you could go into the VLAN and select a specific VLAN if you applied allow here and then identify the device. It's completely configurable for you, and you can choose how you want to manipulate or adjust particular devices based on their operating system. We're going to push OK here. Again, notice there's a default access of allow and block. However, we have it set to allow, so we're going to specifically block the Android devices. We're going to push OK here. Now we need to go back to the wireless LAN, and we need to apply this to that wireless LAN. We're going to click on the wireless LAN we've been working with. We're going to click on Configure. Scroll down to the Advanced section once again, and we will see here we now have OS Policy. We click in the drop-down list. We see the one we've created right here, and then we're going to push OK. Now that's going to be pushed out to that access point. The configuration is going to be updated. So let's go take a look and go back to our device and see if we can connect. Now for me to show you an Android device, we've got a temp here that allows us to be able to simulate an Android device. So we're going to scroll down and find that particular wireless LAN, which is the TMAC standard here again. We are going to try to connect. Push connect. We see that we did connect because we did put in the correct password, but because of the policy that's in place, our device will never obtain the IP address needed for that particular device. And it's going to cycle because it's simply going to time out and not allow the device to connect to that particular wireless LAN. Now we could go back to that wireless LAN and we could take that policy off, just again as an example. Let's take a look and see what happens when we do that. We'll go back and click on Disable here, push OK. Let's verify that that is off. So we have OS policy now disabled. Now let's go back to our device. We're going to click on Retry now. And it was able to connect. So you can see we have lots of control on being able to manage the devices that are connecting to the wireless LANs by simply adding policies that we need, want, or whatever meets our standards when it comes to that wireless LAN deployment. Thank you for taking the time and watching the Management Wireless LAN video. There are many other videos within this series that will teach you other aspects of the Ruckus SmartZone OS 5 release. I encourage you to look at those and hope this provided you great information. Thank you.